What's up, guys? Welcome back to the AOT Chronicles. I'm Ronnie.
I'm Chaz.
And we are here to cover episode 21, season 1. This one is really, I found it's both called Crushing Blow and Iron Hammer. Which one did you have?
I had
it?
Crushing Blow, yeah.
Yeah, when I looked it up, it also said Iron Hammer. Both pretty cool names. The 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 5.
All right, I'm gonna come out and say it right now.
Wow.
This is my favorite episode so far of season 1.
This one, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not mad at that. I don't know if I can make that bold claim because
So far, I mean, there's still a few left. You never know.
But this one's got a lot of good stuff, and boy, am I eager to get into some of this. Eren as a Titan, just butt kicking. Wink, wink, not really. So let's jump on in. So I don't know if this was like this for you, but on Hulu, between the recap and the theme song, it takes a good 4 minutes and 55 seconds to get into this episode.
It was. I noticed that right at the 5-minute mark is when I started taking notes.
Which is pretty crazy. I mean, I'm not complaining at all because they did have a lot to recap, and this was a good time to do like a big recap, kind of like they did, but it was funny coming from last episode. You have 5 minutes to get into it. We pick up back in the middle of the forest, Erwin and Hans discussing the way the female Titan escaped. Erwin believes, just like the Colossal Titan, she used ODM gear to flee in the steam.
Yep.
And Hanji brings up the fact that Eren's gear was destroyed, and he had no stamina left after his transformation. This is where I would like to give you a chance to apologize, Chad.
What am I apologizing about?
Hanji brings up the fact that when Eren exited from his Titan form, that even his combat uniform was gone. Now, flashback to when we were covering those episodes, and Ronnie, yours truly, brought that up, and you went on to call me, and I quote, a nitpicky bitch.
Whoa! I don't think we have evidence of that.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that. I would never call you such a thing. Well, I would definitely call you that, but I don't remember that. Listeners,
that would be really something if someone went back and just proved that fact, or if you remember, send us some feedback, thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com. It happened. I would love to be good at editing enough with this podcast thing to insert the clip here.
Oh, well, you could, but you're just lazy.
I'm setting something up. The clip here.
Lazy.
You can call me a bitchy nitpicker here, and I wouldn't blame you. But for some reason, at this point in the episode, I was just now noticing that while they're at the top of the wall, Eren's soldier uniform is gone. He's just wearing like a light green tunic. Where do you think that went? That just disappears when he becomes a Titan, and he just is left with this.
I believe that he was cold or something, and Mikasa just gave him some clothing.
Okay, all right.
That's my thoughts on that. I feel like anytime something happens to Eren, Mikasa's like, here, just take this, and just gives him something random.
Yeah, it's just random because like he got swallowed in his uniform, and then this is the next time we see him. He's just walking around in this link green tunic.
Maybe it was all slimy or something. Who knows? But I think you're a little nitpicky bitch on that situation.
But I probably won't be able to figure that out in a timely manner. So we'll just see what happens there.
So you're telling me Hanji saw him nude?
No, he had clothes underneath his combat uniform. Oh, you're gonna
so nitpicky.
Wow, this is so like you, big strong man, just calling Hanji hot all the time. But when she comes, it's the glasses. When she comes at you with some actual information and it doesn't go the way you thought it went, you're just gonna start calling BS on her just because her and I were on the same page. Fine, if you want to be in that lane, Chaz, go for it.
Well, I wasn't calling BS on her. I was calling BS on you.
Speaking of bitches, Erwin claims that using Eren as a... Well, you are wired up this evening. I was going for something there. Speaking of bitches, Erwin claims that using Eren as a basis for their assumptions on how these other human titans is not a good idea because Eren is a bitch.
Well, he called him a complete novice, but if you want to go that route, whatever.
Look up synonyms for complete novice. Are you trying to tell me that bitch wouldn't be in there?
It wouldn't. It would be more like noob, I feel like. Noob, lucky.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this episode the way your attitude is right now. Fine. He doesn't say that he's a bitch, but he does say it is because he's a beginner. And remember at this point, Eren has only turned into a Titan 2.66 times. And all he knows about this whole Titan form is that he does indeed have to bite himself.
Very hard.
We cut over to John, who is wondering if the person inside the Titan was captured. Real shocking here, Armin is figuring things out.
I just imagine Armin's brain. Beep, bop, beep, 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 bop, beep.
That's the first good thing you've done this podcast. He decides that it was Eren's transformation into a Titan that stopped the attack on Trost midway, and that the person inside the Titan is someone who witnessed his Titan form.
Armin is just...
This is like thinking a month and a half back. Well, I mean...
What's crazy to me, too, is it makes so much sense, and I would have never thought of that.
No. I mean, it does. Like, if you think about it, you're like, oh, yeah, that was weird how everything kind of just stopped. Like, I mean, they hadn't necessarily just won the day, and everything just kind of chilled out.
So what... At this point, what do you think? Why would they just chill out? Obviously, because...
Well, think about what Armin knows. Armin knows that this Titan's obviously looking for Eren because, she checked the hood and then just ran by him. And he's putting 2 to 2 together and knows that, things were looking real bad in Trost until Eren came, helped out a little bit. But at the same time, he knew that the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan were still a thing and they just didn't come back. And it just stayed like that. So I think he's just putting 2 and 2 together.
He's putting 2 and 2 together, and is he kind of thinking, oh, maybe their plan all along was to find Eren? Or, what is he thinking here?
I think he knows exactly what's up, which is, man, it sure seemed like they were just trying to end all of us and get to the center of these walls, but they saw that, and it's given them pause for something.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably easy enough to figure out, oh, well, hey, because, Armin, for sure, since he knows that the female Titan has a person inside of it, he's probably thinking, well, since Eren's the same exact way, she should probably try to recruit him.
Yeah. Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, all makes sense. So Eren has stopped in the middle of the forest, putting his and everyone else's life in danger. Because keep in mind, there is someone chopping people down. And he's just shouting at Gunther. He's just shouting, which he also always calls him Mr. Gunther, which I thought was funny.
Respectful. He's a noob.
He keeps calling him Mr. Gunther, who, by the way, his neck is cracked and couldn't be clearly more dead. And Eren's just putting a whole stop on this whole road show to try and see if he's okay, I guess. I guess he's in shock, but...
Eren, he just cannot handle his comrades dying.
Forget about all the other tens of people he just saw die these past couple episodes. This one is tougher because of all the good times we saw between Eren and Gunther. Remember that one time when Gunther bit his hand?
Such a good time.
I'll remember it forever. And Eren will too. Thankfully, Double Stuffed Oreo comes and yells at him to get moving again because you just can't do this. Eld Jin,
Baylor,
whoop whoop, decides that there is no time to reach the horses and they will head to the rest of the scout regiment. Because remember, he's in charge when Levi's gone. We cut quickly back over to Erwin, who is saying that since this attacker is clearly so much more advanced than Eren, really just driving it in there, so much more advanced than Eren.
The complete novice.
She could still have enough stamina to transform back into Titan form, which, of course, happens immediately.
everything Erwin says happens, I feel like, 0.2 seconds after he says it.
Erwin especially, but it also happens a lot in this show.
Yeah, it does.
This time, Eren wants to fight it, but he is ordered by Eld to escape while the rest of the squad takes care of it. Eren, once again, doesn't want to let them fight. Yeah, he doesn't want to let them fight his battles for him, but in a similar moment to a couple episodes ago, decides to trust them and keeps moving forward because, Petra and Double Stuffed Warrior, they're all doing the whole card of, what, you don't think we can handle it? You don't trust us? So finally, he gets back in that headspace he was just a few episodes ago,
right.
And keeps on moving, says, good luck. Which, I always love a good luck, so...
He yells it, too, because he's got to just yell it in the most enthusiastic way every time.
You don't know good luck in Japanese?
Oh, konnichiwa!
You just made that up.
Nope.
So the squad goes to engage, and they start off with the old bait and switch. This is a great move. It's won me many dodgeball tournaments when I used to play professionally.
Yep.
You get the one person just lob one up. They think they got an easy catch. You just drill them right in the dick.
It helps when you're 4'11", like you are.
Low to the ground, small target. I used to only weigh 235 back then, so I was a little slimmer. But yeah, they go with the old bait and switch because Eld goes in, puts on the air brakes, so lets loose a cloud of smoke, and from behind that, Petra and Oreo glide through, managing to slice through the Titan's eyes.
Beautiful choreograph.
I mean, well executed. Yeah. And just in the same, fluid motions, they continue attacking its arms and shoulders until they become completely useless and fall to her sides, and they are able to reach the neck. And Eren does his best impression of Armin and thinks that he figured out the reason for them being able to fight so well together is that they just trust one another.
The power of friendship.
And the power of friendship and trust.
It always pulls through in the end.
Yeah. I mean, Armin is coming up with complete logistical battle plans and mysteries, and Eren's just figuring out the true power of friendship. So they're right on the same level at this point. Because of this, he knows he made the right choice to let them handle her as he keeps moving. Which is the right choice. But then he remembers Levi's words, which were basically, I'm just paraphrasing here, yeah, there basically isn't a right or wrong choice when it comes to trusting others because you just never know how things are going to work out. Which is kind of the same thing we touched on last episode where the people are up in the trees, saying, was this a bad choice by Erwin? And Armin's like, listen, it's easy to call it a bad choice after the fact, but you don't know how things are going to play.
It lines up perfectly with life, too. You can trust your friends, your family, or in the end, you can just trust yourself.
I love it when you get deep.
Thank you.
Cue the sad music as Eren looks back one more time to watch Eld attack the female Titan's neck muscles, only to be caught by the female Titan's mouth and bitten in half.
Because both of her eyes were gone, and then...
Rip. That one hurt. It's not getting any better. Hold on. Let's just get through it. Petra states that it should be impossible for the Titan to see again in such short time when she notices that the female Titan prioritized one eye for faster healing, which in show terms was very well done because if you go back to when they were slicing and dicing the arms, you can see that she just has the one eye steaming. It's one of those great things that you would just never really catch the first time through, but either on a rewatch or if you think about it, you can tell because we know that steaming is how they heal themselves, and she's just focusing it on in that one eye.
And it took me probably 10th or 11th rewatch before I caught that.
But you're diligent. That's what I like about you. That's why we're only putting out so many episodes a week. We're really diving into these things. The female Titan sprints towards Petra as Oreo frantically tells her to get it together. But Petra is too shocked by Eld's death. She looks up as she is crushed against a tree by the female Titan's foot. And oh my god, so much blood. Dude. Rip.
I'm going to go ahead and say this too. That's the best. I hate saying this. Best death in a few episodes.
Hey, Weird fucking way to phrase that one, Chadley.
Don't know how to phrase it, but best death. Okay?
Well,
and I'm gonna say this too. I was really coming along with Petra. I started to really like her. I loved her talks with Eren.
Yeah, well, you couldn't get Krista because she's kind of my girl, so Petra was a good second.
Okay, whatever, but...
well, since you think things are going so well over there, maybe you're getting excited for this next moment. I, on the other hand, am just trying to get through it. We see double stuffed Oreo momentarily break at the sight of Petra's death, but he gets it back together and grapples onto the Titan's neck and swings at its nape. But his blades are shattered by the Titan's hardened skin. She then puts a swift into him.
Well, how about that look? When he goes for that, his blade breaks. The look of her with her one eye is just terrifying.
Yeah, it's horrifying. She puts a swift into him with a roundhouse kick. Rip, rip, rip.
And now this is the best death in a couple moments.
That roundhouse kick is lethal. I liken this, he was our double stuffed Oreo. We loved him very much. This is basically the equivalent of when you twist the Oreo apart and you eat one part of the cookie that's, it's like a little warm up for when you dunk the rest of it into the milk and get that cream. Wow. Don't know how I got into this Oreo conversation. Gonna miss him.
Great analogy.
But that was a rough 45 seconds of television viewing.
Well, I will say this too. This show does it perfect. A lot of other shows, they always bring in the power of friendship, and they all band together, and the power of friendship prevails, and they defeat the enemy. And right here,
and they were kind of guilty of this in an earlier episode, but a lot of times in shows kind of like this, this is coming because they give a shit ton of character development just 10 minutes before. Whereas we've met this whole crew, at this point, a few episodes now, and we get a little bit more of them. We see their, history. We see them interact with each other, and to lose all three of them just like that.
Instantly.
In my opinion, it warrants, if we could have one of our patent-pending 10-second podcast moment of silence in respect of our Lost Squad members starting now.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Okay, thank you. We'll continue on. Eren, who at this point is pissed off, scared, and perhaps a little horny, wants to kill the Titan and transforms because... I don't know about you.
If
you're into that kind of thing, this probably worked for you. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, he just wants to go Titan mode so he can get a piece of that ass, is what I think.
he lets out a roar that is heard by Mikasa and Levi, who both rush to Eren's location. And that brings us to a calling card, which randomly is just about horses.
After that brutal scene, they're like, let's just throw some horse information.
Let's just let these people know about horses. I'm also not mad at it, though. Me and you have kind of discussed this off mic. These horses are low-key the most underrated heroes of the series. Mm-hmm. They're provided to the Scout Regiment and are bred specifically for them. They have a height of about 160 centimeters, which... I know we like to do this for the people in America, since we're all dumb and don't understand the metric system. That's about 5 feet 2 inches, which...
Wow, so that's just a little bit taller than you are.
Well, yeah, I thought that was very interesting. It's about the same height as me. And then a weight of 450 to 500 kilograms, which goes out to about 1,100 pounds. And I thought that was really weird how that was about the same weight as I am as well.
It's almost like you could have been one of these horses, Ronnie. It's... crazy.
Well, here's where I fall apart, because their speed ranges between 75 and 80 kilometers per hour, which that comes up to about 50 miles per hour. And last time I ran a 40, I'm about at 39.
Yeah, so it's a few miles per hour off.
I'm working on my time. We'll get it there. We'll get it there, and then I'll be able to be a Attack on Titan horse. And These horses are about the only way they outrun these Titans. So we're out of the calling card. Eren attacks the female Titan. She tries to avoid him by kicking Eren because her arms have not healed yet. You can tell they're still hanging down at her side. They're steaming. So she's, doing a little bit of floating like a butterfly. Not much stinging like a bee at this point in time.
Her body is stinging like a bee.
We cut to Levi, who is zipping by bloody corpses of his squad members, and I can't stress enough how much he looks like he's getting ready to fall asleep.
This scene was it's one of those scenes where you're like, oh, Levi is about to go ape shit. He's pissed off, and then you just see his face, and he's like, God, this is just so unfortunate.
Just
I really
completely
want to take a nap.
uninterested.
Yeah,
and I don't mean to say like inside. I think he's really hurting, but he's just been, I think, hurt before, and he just puts up this wall, and we don't really get to see what's behind that wall.
Well,
It's
I
just,
also think this is interesting too. I kind of caught this on probably the 17th, 18th rewatch, but it almost looks as if he's blocking out emotionally and he's examining how each one of his squad mates died.
Okay,
Is what I'm thinking.
I like that. Meanwhile, the fight continues as Eren manages to throw her down and mantle her. So we might have been right about that.
I think we were.
So it's at this point that I think Eren has realized that the choice he thought was completely right a second ago to let his squad mates handle it was very wrong, and they probably could have used his help.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing. The episode before where Petra's like, "Thank you for trusting us, Eren. I told you it would all work out."
Yeah, that was very foreshadowing. In a fit of rage, he throws punches at the female Titan, who just easily dodged these blows, causing him to completely shatter his arms. That was brutal animation.
Dude, he is just fighting out of pure rage, and this other Titan knows what she's doing, and she's not having it.
I mean, when he punches and his bones just tear through his arm, that was awesome.
It was very awesome.
Do you think that if Eren had transformed when Levi told him a few episodes ago, like when he said it was up to him, that they would have completed their goal of basically, capturing this thing?
It's tough to say, but I do think if Levi was there and it was Titan Eren and Levi versus female Titan, which you had the other squad mates too, but I think all you need is Levi and Titan Eren.
Here's the thing, they would have had to get across to Eren somehow that they needed to get her to the grappling hooks. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like even if it was just Eren and Levi, like they were obviously going to have some way to restrain her. But here's another interesting question. Do you think Levi, deep down, wanted Eren to transform?
Dude, it's so tough to say. I think he partly did, but I believe he's talking about his own. He's thinking about his own words when he says that too. He doesn't know. I think he truly doesn't know what's right either, for Eren to transform in that moment or for him to trust his squad.
Okay, how about?
I think he might have been leaning towards Eren going Titan mode.
I might be with you on that, but how about this? Do you agree with this thing? If Levi's thinking about it, he's putting himself in Eren's shoes, he would have 100% transformed right then and there.
Yeah, he would have. Because
All right.
Levi's full of himself and he knows how powerful he is, and he wouldn't have trusted his teammates.
Just thought that was an interesting conversation. So Eren slobbers all over the female Titan, and shocker, he promises that he will tear apart the female Titan piece by piece, ... as soon as his hands that he broke 30 seconds ago heal back up. Because this time it's going to be different. Oh my god, Eren is such a bozo. This is hilarious at this point. His Titan body begins seizing up and twitching.
Oh my gosh,
he's
so
just
fun.
losing complete control. His mouth, what is going on with his mouth? It's moving all over the place. I mean, he just looks completely mental.
Yeah, his state of mind is just not healthy whatsoever.
And around this time, the female Titan's injuries, they finish healing up, and she jumps into action. So they resume fighting with Eren repeatedly swinging and missing. I mean, until she delivers a hardened punch through Eren's mouth. Ouchie.
Which then Eren has one of the coolest moves.
Would you agree with my take? Ouchie?
Yeah, I was going to say ouch, but ouchie sounds more right.
What were you saying? I just wanted to make sure you were on the same page as me there.
After ouchie, Eren pulls off one of the coolest moves in the show yet.
Yeah, he does take advantage of this and uppercuts the female Titan hard enough to launch her into the air.
When he slides his mouth through her fists, too, which is awesome.
I really liked it. They must have been practicing that back with old Commander Keith Sadie's. Or Captain Keith Sadie's. Keith Sadie's.
Just call him Mr. Keith.
Eren charges at her only to ram into a tree, and at this point, this guy's just exhausted.
This guy just no experience, fighting pure rage.
Had too much adrenaline overload, and now he's just done.
It's your first rule of boxing, bud.
He turns around, and the female Titan performs one of those classic roundhouse kicks that ends up taking his hand, a tree, and almost his entire head. Or his entire head.
Yeah, pretty much his entire head.
I mean, I won't say almost. He just took his entire head.
Just decapitated him with one kick.
She proceeds to bite Eren's human form out of his Titan body.
How about when she opens her mouth? The widest mouth I've ever seen.
Eren's kind of done this before, too, where they just really... like they unhook their jaw and just go for it.
I'm sure it kind of turned him on seeing how wide she opened that thing.
Snake-like.
Yeah.
Mikasa arrives just in time to see Eren getting absolutely devoured by the female Titan, who begins to just run away.
And she's just jealous that she wasn't able to devour him.
Mikasa, who is actually somewhat useful in her fit of rage, begins chasing the female Titan, repeatedly slashing all over its body in attempts to get Eren back. But the female Titan is still too good at hardening up and protecting that nape. She hardens up the hands. Mikasa can't get to him. I mean, Mikasa, she's doing some damage here. She gets it to the ground and slicing and dicing, but it's just, you got to get to that nape or else it's all pointless.
Yep. Regen.
And suddenly Levi swoops in. He grabs Mikasa and tells her to maintain a certain distance because she, the Titan that is tiring out. I mean, she's been putting in some work these past couple minutes. And then he asks her, hey, so is Eren dead? And Mikasa just sad face.
She's not sad, Ronnie.
And that's the end of the episode. I've got a couple follow-up questions here.
Let's hear it.
So I'm an Elgin fanboy.
Yep.
I am of the opinion that he knew he was getting ready to fight until he died, while the other two just had so much faith in their abilities they thought that they were going to be... Just the way he talked to Eren, I felt like he knew that, his mission was to keep Eren safe and to try and deal with this thing, but...
To me, he was so much more calm, collected, and just he's a cooler dude than both Oreo and Petra. I do think he kind of knew. He either knew he was going to die or he was going to be severely injured.
Yeah, I just think, while Petra and Oreo might be good fighters, I feel like, Eld was put in charge for a reason. I think he's just more wise, and he definitely thinks highly of his abilities, but he also is not stupid.
He's definitely assessing the situation much better, even the Erwin situation. He called out there being a traitor before Petra or Oreo even mentioned it. So,
and the people love it when we get real, so I also wanted to throw this one in here. I remember this was one of the big talking points we had when I first originally watched the episode. I just thought it was really well done how they kept developing this narrative over the past couple episodes that Eren just needs to trust his teammates. He's gotta give up control and trust his teammates, when in reality they had too much confidence in themselves, and really he could have helped.
Yeah, it's almost it's not laughable. It's kind of sad and depressing that they were hammering that in him the whole time, when really, as stubborn as he is, he was the best option and answer to fight this thing.
It's just, that episode of the flashbacks, the entire episode is seeing if we can get Eren to this point where he trusts in these teammates. But the whole thing that they didn't realize is, Eren is very important, but at the same time, he's a teammate. He needs to help you guys. And in the end, it's probably what caused them all to die.
And this, for future events, you never know. Eren trusting teammates that might not happen much more after what just happened.
Right. Yeah. He probably learned a lesson here, and it's going to be. It wouldn't surprise me if he's more involved going forward. But
and the parallel between him and Levi, they're both very well. Eren's kind of just got lucky that he has this Titan ability, but him and Levi are both very strong, and they're probably going to be doing a lot of just trusting themselves from this point on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. It'll be interesting to see where Levi is after this episode, because even though he looks like he was taking a nap through the trees, I think he's probably roughed up a bit as, they did those slow pans of just the dead bodies. And, Petra was so rough, how her back was just bent, staring up at the sky.
And he went on that limb right above her.
You, of course, thought that was so great.
Well, it was the best death, yes. But when he landed on that limb above her and is just looking down at her broken neck, staring up at her, just brutal.
Anyway, this is your favorite episode of season 1. Do you have anything else to add?
It's depressing as those deaths were. Just the way the female Titan just pummeled them was just badass.
Right.
And just so badass.
How incompetent Eren really is.
Yeah. And you just don't, it's so unique seeing something like this. You don't see any other shows with deaths like that. Like having a giant pretty much just kick the shit out of small.
It's rough, yeah. That's why, we're not afraid to say dirty words on this podcast, because if you're, this show's brutal for animation, so.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if you got any feedback, send it on over to thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to the pod on there. I know a lot of podcast listening is on YouTube.
No, none of it's on YouTube. Keep being like the rest of the 99.5% of the world and listening on podcast apps. And we'll catch you next time.
I'm Chad.
I'm Ronnie.
Peace.